With all of the recent free agency news, there are still teams out there that are looking for a top-tier edge rusher in this year's draft. The Detroit Lions are one of those teams. They didn't really address the edge position, which tells me they are looking for an edge in this year's draft. And obviously, if you're not a fan of the Detroit Lions and you're watching this video, feel free to keep watching because I'm still going to go through all the prospects. You can watch, see which ones you like. Let me know which ones you like. And obviously, I might mention the Lions a couple times and how they can fit on our team. But if you're a fan of another team, let me know what team you're a fan of, who you want, why you want them, and when you want to get them, and like what, pick. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it, starting with prospect number 1. And that is Dallas Turner out of Alabama. And he is well regarded as the number 1 edge in this draft. I think most people can probably agree there. Now, you could argue, Liu, I think I'm saying his name right, and Jared Verse from Florida State. Those are really good guys. But this guy, I think, is well regarded as a top 8 to 12 pick. And I think, if I was to predict right now where he's going to go, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. I think that the Falcons can get their hands on this guy and, get their top tier edge rusher. And I think that looking at, especially with the Kirk Cousins signing, because I thought they might try and go after a quarterback. But looking at Dallas Turner, he had a great year at Alabama, and he's still continuing to, improve his game as well. And I think that, this is going to be a guy, if I had to predict who is going to be the best edge in this draft, like just right now, I'd probably go with Dallas Turner. Now, I really like Chop Robinson. I really like Darius Robinson as well. I think Darius Robinson could be one of the best in this draft as well. Like, he's got so much potential. I really like him. But Dallas Turner, I think, is the most NFL-ready edge in this draft. And I really think that whatever team he goes to, he's going to be able to make immediate impact day one. Whether it's being an edge number 1 or an edge number 2. Now, he has very good technique. He's got very good. He's very good in the run game as well, which is very important. So I really do see him being a great NFL edge, and I see him having a great career in the NFL wherever he goes. Prospect number 2, we've got Jared Verse out of Florida State, a guy coming off of a massive season, and this is a guy again who is going to be very good in the NFL. Now, he had 9 sacks and a forced fumble, and you can see the size is there as well. And Jared Verse, he's going to be a problem because he is double teamed most of the time. Now, he was on a very good defensive line. Obviously, Braden Fisk was on that Florida State team as well. And, Florida State's always got high recruits, great players. I really think that Jared Verse is going to be a very good edge one. I think he's going to be a dominant edge rusher in the NFL. I can see him being a top 10 edge in the league. Now, where is he going to go draft-wise? More than likely, he's going to be within the top 20. I would probably predict anywhere from 15 to I might even say 12 to 15. But right now, I'd probably say, if I had to guess, probably pick number 15 right now. Some things about him, obviously, he's got great size, very good bull rush, and he's got great technique. And I really do think that, there's definitely a couple things he can work on, but he's so polished. And I think that's really, I think one thing he can work on is getting a little bit lower when he does it when he bull rushes. But if he gets a little, like I read in his, scouting report, he needs to get a little bit lower and bend more at the waist. Prospect number 3 is Chop Robinson. And this guy it's kind of funny because he's coming out of Penn State. And if you look at his size, it's going to remind you of someone else who came out of Penn State a few years ago, and that is Micah Parsons. I'm not going to sit here and say this guy's going to be next Micah Parsons. I don't think he will be. Micah Parsons is the top 3 player in the NFL when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. Chop Robinson, to me, is more of an edge rusher, too. Now, from the Detroit Lions standpoint, this would be a perfect compliment for Aiden Hutchinson because this guy has the fastest first step, the best first step in this draft. His first step is deadly. Like, you cannot stop that. Like, you put him up with some left or right tackle, they're not going to be able to just, they're not going to be able to keep up with him. He's so quick and fast. I think he ran, from what I heard, he ran the second fastest 40 out of all edges. I think Dallas Turner did run like a 4.47, and he ran like a 4.48 or 9. So he's basically, right there with the fastest edge in the draft. Such a quick first step, and that's going to get him a long way in the NFL, and I see him being great wherever he goes. Prospect number 4, Darius Robinson out of Missouri, and this is probably, it went from, Kool-Aid McKinstry was always, my favorite, and I really like T'Vondre Sweat. Darius Robinson right now is probably my favorite guy in this draft, and he might stay there because right now I think that if the Detroit Lions are looking for a player at pick 29 without having to move, trade up, trade down, Darius Robinson is going to probably fall right there. I think 29 is right where he should go. And again, I said this earlier, I think this is a guy who could end up being the best edge rusher in this draft and could be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, which is crazy because the Lions already have Aiden Hutchinson. I really do think that this guy is going to be a perfect complement for Aiden Hutchinson. He's one of his biggest strengths. He's huge. The dude's like 6'5". He's not the fat, kind of like Aiden Hutchinson. Whenever I watch this guy run, he just reminds me of Aiden Hutchinson, the way he runs. Not the fastest, like when, he doesn't really have the best turn radius. Like he can't really turn and run like on an angle. But when it comes to like running straight, like if you watch right here, he can get moving pretty dang well. Like he's moving fast for being as big as he is. That's crazy. He's massive. And I see him being a perfect complement or an edge rusher one wherever he goes. Prospect number 5, Liu Liufau out of UCLA, who came off of I didn't even know that this dude was coming off of a 13 sack, 2 interception, 2 forced fumble. Like, that is insane. He's also great size. I mean, this guy is probably going to be like a dream fit for a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think he'll fall that far, honestly. But, even like a Seattle Seahawks, like he could fit so well there. If I had to predict where he was going to go, I'd probably say the Seattle Seahawks right now. I really think that's a good fit for them because they do need a better defensive line and a better edge rusher. And they did this trade for like Sam Howell, which I'm guessing that they're probably going to start him, which I think was actually pretty smart, but I don't know if he'll be, a guy that's going to get them a playoff win. But Liu Liufau, he is, 13 sacks. I'm pretty sure that was like the most out of any of these. Yeah, he is the most out of any of the edge rushers in this video. And just coming off of a huge year. And he's got some of the best technique in this draft. Pretty fast. Great. Yeah, I already said great technique. And he also can get interceptions as well, force fumbles. He just knows what to do and when. He just is really good at predicting what the quarterback's going to do. This is what when I watch this film, this is what I notice. He, is pushing his guy back, and then as the quarterback, starts moving up in the pocket, he reads it perfectly. Or the quarterback rolls back, turns the other way. He reads it. He just knows what the quarterback's going to do, and that's going to help him out so much in the NFL when he goes up against a Justin Fields. A quarterback, a Lamar Jackson, a quarterback that knows how to roll out and avoid pressure. He's good at reading that, and I think that that's going to make, it's going to get him a long way. Prospect number 6 is Jonah Ellis out of Utah, another Pac-12 player. This is another guy coming off of a monster season, which I had no idea that this man had 12 sacks on the year. That's pretty incredible. Now, his size, he's a little smaller. He's only 6'2", right? Compared to most edges, he's a little bit on the shorter side. But does that matter? No. More than likely, this guy, I think from what I've heard, is going to be more than likely early 3rd, maybe late 2nd round pick. Quote me on, don't quote me on that. You correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know where he's projected to go. But last I saw, it was late 2nd, early 3rd. Maybe he sneaks his way up into early 2nd. Probably likely with, how good this guy looks. But again, he's a little undersized, and that could affect his draft stock a little bit. Now, this guy is probably the perfect, edge rusher number 2 on any team. You give, a team like the Lions, this guy could go and get 10 sacks easily, And now the Lions just got DJ Reader, who's going to command a double team. Now you're going to have Lee McNeil going to the middle, who, had 5 sacks and missed like 5 games last year. And you got Aiden Hutchinson, who finished with like 14.5 sacks. And then you get a guy like this who can get 10 sacks on the year easily, without a doubt, if he stays healthy. That's, to me, that's awesome. And like I said, when you watch him, the size a little smaller, but look at the spin move. I was just gonna say, he's got some of the best pass rush moves out of probably top 3 in this draft. I'd say his pass rush moves are elite, and it has to do a lot with his size and speed. He just knows how, his size helps him in that, especially when it comes to being able to do like what James Houston for the Lions does, where he kind of just ducks under, or just beats his guy using pure speed, kind of like Chop Robinson. Just very good at getting off the line. He's got a quick first step and uses his size to his advantage. Prospect number 7, we have Chris Braswell out of Alabama. And now, he was technically the edge rusher 2 at Bama, but he had a great year. Look at that. 8 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and interception, which I think Dallas Turner, if I remember correctly, had like 8.5 sacks, So he's right there with Dallas Turner. And again, people are probably going to look at this guy as an edge rusher too, right? That's probably how I'd look at him. I think right now he's projected to also go late second, early third, which, makes sense. But coming off of a year like that, he could easily sneak up later, into the earlier second round, and could definitely end up being one of the better guys in this draft. I could say he could be up to a top 3 guy. Obviously, he could always be the number 1 guy in this draft. I think any one of these guys could, 100%. I could see this guy being the best guy in this draft. But more than likely, he'll probably be a top 3 to 4 guy in this draft. And he's just going to be a beast, wherever he goes, because if he's not getting double teamed, he's going to get to the quarterback. And he knows how to do that. Once he gets contact, one thing about this guy, once he gets contact with the offensive line, he's so good at just being able to shake them, being able to get off of the block and then get to the quarterback. And that's one thing that's going to help him. He doesn't really have the top end speed. He's pretty fast, but he doesn't have the top end speed like the Chop Robinsons and the Jonah Ellis. He just kind of uses his technique to his advantage, where he makes contact and then sheds. He's got very good pass rush moves and is able, you saw it right there, able to just shed his block and get to the quarterback. So it's going to help him out a lot. Teams where he could go and fit, obviously, for the Detroit Lions, if he fell to pick 61 in the second round, that could be a perfect spot to get this guy. And I could see him being a great edge rusher in this draft. Now, is he my number 1 guy? No, but I could see him being a top 3 to 4 guy in this draft. I think he's going to have a great career in the NFL. He's a Bama product, can never go wrong, and his pass rush moves are there. Now it's just about developing, even more, into the run game and just getting even more familiar, with being able to go inside. Prospect number 8, the final prospect, is Bralen Trice out of Washington, and this is a guy who I really liked, heading into the offseason, and then he started to kind of slip on draft boards a little bit as other guys made their way up. Definitely a guy that could be very good. He only had 7 sacks on the year, and he was projected to go late first. Now I believe he's projected to go anywhere from late second to early third. Last I saw, he was the first pick of the 3rd round or something like that. So he slipped a little bit, and I don't think it's really his fault. I just think you have guys like Jonah Ellis, who was projected to be a 5th round pick, and then after the combine, now he's projected to be a 2nd, 3rd round pick. So you just have guys like that kind of made their way up, and maybe he slipped a little bit because there's other prospects that are making their way up the draft boards, and that's just what happens. It doesn't mean that he got any worse or that people don't think he's as good as what he is. It just has to do with other players kind of making their way up, and he kind of just people are seeing stuff in other players and they're not seeing it in him, which is fine. Now Bralen Trice, he would make a great edge rusher too on any team. Like I was saying earlier, and I kind of like this guy a lot. Coming into the offseason, he looks to me like he can be a great guy in the NFL. He can polish a few things up, hand techniques. He can get a few more pass rush moves, and his speed isn't great, but can always work on agility. And some things he is good at though is just getting to the quarterback. He knows how to use. He's very powerful. That's one thing he is very good at. He's got great strength, good size. And he's got a very good football IQ. He just, he knows what to do, when to do it. So that is going to be it for today's video. Like I said, go down in the comments. I want to hear who you guys like the most. What's your favorite edge rusher? If you're a Detroit Lions fan, who do you want? Where do you want to get them at? How are we going to get them? Are we going to trade for them? Are we going to wait for them to fall to our pick? What do you want to do? And if you're a fan of another team, let me know what team you're a fan of, who you want, why you want them, and when you want to get them, and what pick. Let me know what you thought of the video. Obviously, I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching and listening. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Go Lions. Peace.